Okay, hi guys, it's Hopeless Dave here again, and I'm just doing a quick video on some of the stuff I've been working on. I've mostly been working on, I've got like this tavern set up here. I just enable some of the rendering. Takes a bit of time to load in. There we go. Should I put that rendering on? It's all in Blender, and excuse me. What we're doing here is I'm pretty much creating something that we can use as the title screen, and where you've got all your menu options, selecting new game, opening up like graphics options and things. I don't know if we've shown stuff in the past. We may have done where we wanted to have where you click on different menu options and it takes you almost like a little animation. It plays and it takes you to like another table or something within a tavern, and it just makes it a bit more interesting to look at rather than just going through different menus with a up, down, select the menu. There's a bit of animation involved. So I've basically been trying to create a sort of a setup where we can basically do that. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of like coming up with other ideas of like just furniture and stuff we might want to include. So I did record a bit of footage, but then I decided I kind of like went through it a little bit too quick. So it'd probably just be easier if I just show you what I've been doing and talk at the same time. I've been meaning to do that. I keep meaning to do that when I do the videos, but it's actually quite awkward. So I'm going to see how this goes. And I also going to show you how I created something over here. I've just made these like little hanging sort of wall vines. I thought they kind of look nice as just like a wall decoration, so I'm going to show the process of how I went about modelling that and texturing it. But I'll do that. I've got some footage pre-recorded for that, so I'll talk over that one. I'll show you how I do it. I've been trying to do portraits and things, and over here I've been channeling my inner Bob Ross in pixel form, which is I don't know how it turned out. It's okay. But yeah, this is kind of what I've been working on mostly, so it's really just to, it's a bit of a demonstration of what we want things to look like in-game, although this is all in Blender. It's all using textures and models that we could put into Unity and use. So we've got a few ideas of how we can sort of allow you guys to populate your structures with items, decorations to make it a lot more interesting rather than just building straight with blocks. Obviously the walls will be blocks. These are all like 1x1 cubes. But we do want the ability to put furniture and things in that's going to be a bit more interesting than just place another block and that's a wooden block, that's a table. We do want to be able to have furniture. But this one's mainly just for sort of brainstorming, just so I can come up with different ideas for what I think might look good. Things that might be worth designing, and it's mainly just so we can use it as a menu screen as well. So say if you select an option over here, so you sort of say gonna select options, then maybe it'll take you over to this table or something, and then there'll be I don't know, like some kind of pamphlet or scroll on there that's got all the options listed, and it's just a bit more interesting. But yeah, what I'll do now is I'll go over to some of the footage of me creating a few of the other things, and you can see how I did it. So hopefully you guys find that interesting. Okay, so this is basically the footage I've got sped up 2 times, so it's not too long. But yeah, what I'm going to do here is basically I built this this model basically just out of planes. So there's no like, I guess sort of 3D look in that. There's no cubes or anything. It's all just the plants and the I don't remember what it's called. The wooden backdrop for the plants is just a 2D object. Now I've already done the texture, which is on another bit of video footage. So what I'll do is I'll show you this bit first, where this is basically the texture's already made, and I'm just linking it all up, getting it all put on. And then after I've shown you how I make the 3D model and apply the texture to it, I'll go back and we'll just go through how I did the texture itself, which is, to be fair, pretty much what you've seen me do already. Yeah, so you can see here I've already got the texture made, and now I'm just going through the UV mapping and just setting it up so that the texture is properly applied in the correct proportions to the model. So there's just quite a lot of just fiddling around, just trying to make it all fit and match up with the sort of get all the pixel sizes correct. Because one thing you don't want, you want to try and avoid things to be stretching or because obviously it's because we've got quite a low sort of pixel density. There's not many pixels here because we're working on sort of it's like low poly models and very low numbers of actual graphical pixels to draw on top of. It's very obvious if it gets stretched or distorted. You can tell very, very easily. So it's just a lot of just me going through here. That's why I've sped it up a little bit, just trying to make it look like nothing's stretched. It all looks how it should. And then once I'm done with the wooden paneling here, I'll start creating basically the planes that I put the leaves on top of. And I pretty much did the leaves how I did the models for the trees. You just take a plane, put the leaf texture over it, and obviously it's an alpha texture, so there's no background. The background is transparent, as you can see here. So it's just a flat plane and you only see the leaf texture because you don't see any of the alpha background. You don't see it all. I put a bunch of verts in there, and then you could basically just pull it around and give it a bit of like 3D depth. There, like what I'm doing here. And that just keeps it, it's more interesting than just having it be a straight flat plane, because obviously if it was a real plant it would come away from the wall and away from its frame. And I've got two different leaf textures on that texture there, and then I'd sort of like mix and match them and just move them around a little bit just so they're a bit unique, and it just keeps it looking a bit more interesting than just using the exact same leaf texture just duplicated over and over again. If I've got two and if I keep changing the shape of it, it's not as obvious it's the same texture. But yeah, that's pretty much how I made the model. And yeah, when we're done with this one, I'll show you how I just did the texture. It's pretty straightforward. I could probably do a few more tweaks to it and make it a bit more interesting. It was mainly a proof of concept at the moment, but I think it turned out actually pretty nicely. Yeah, so that's pretty much they're done, and then it's just a case of putting up against the wall so that you can see how it looks with everything else. That's one of the good things about having this tavern setup, is that you can, if I create a new item, I can put it amongst anything else I've made and just sort of think, does that sort of fit? Does it look alright? Are the colours a good match? I've got a few things here that I do actually want to change. Like those stools are really ugly. I'm going to fix the stools. I don't like them at all. I did do quite a low poly look on the stools, but they definitely need, I think, just a few extra faces there. A bit too blocky. And I could definitely do a better job with the texture. I think the texture was just a little bit too low res. But that's how I made the 3D model for those things. So now we'll go over to the texturing process, and I'll show you how I actually just did the texture. Okay, so we're here in Clip Studio, which is the sort of software I always enjoyed using. Krita's really good as well. I think I've said that as well a few times. I do sometimes use Krita for. I find it's actually quite nice for like almost like painting. It's got it's got a really nice selection of default brushes for like almost like trying to recapture like if you want brushes that almost like emulate brush strokes from if you were to paint in real life. But I do really like Clip Studio as well. It's got a lot of really cool features. Krita's good because it's free, and it does have a few really cool features on there that Clip Studio doesn't have. Clip Studio is more designed for like comics and manga and stuff like that. I think that's what a lot of people use it for. It's also it's a paid software, but you only pay once, and it's always on sale as well. But Krita's really good because Krita's free. So yeah, if you're looking for a decent drawing software, definitely check Krita out. But yeah, this is what I've basically just done here. Is I've just done an outline of obviously the sort of the wooden backdrop is straightforward. That's literally just a single pixel line in a box pattern. And then for the leaves, I just sort of did a base layer of just almost like a beanstalk looking shape, and then just drew some sort of leaf shapes coming off it. And then I just did a layer for each shading. So I wanted a layer for sort of like dark shading, and then a layer for light shading. And then I just went in with an overlay layer and just tweaked it just a little bit, just to get a bit more darkness in underneath the leaves and a little bit of light on top. And then when I was done with that, I just went over it with a noise layer that just kind of pixelates it just a little bit, and it's sort of the style I've been using for a lot of the objects I've been using for the game, and it just makes it look a bit. It adds a tiny little bit of variation to it, which was just I actually think looks kind of nice. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward really. That's all it is that I did with this one. And then obviously I would have taken this image here and then just loaded it into Blender, and then you would have seen from what I did before when I did the UV unwrapping, I just designated this texture here as the as a texture, and then and then just layered the UVs over the top of it in the way I wanted it to get the look I wanted. So that's pretty much how I created that particular object. And for the other things you saw, like the paintings and the pictures, I did that in pretty much exactly the same way as you've done here. It's just a 2D image that I just draw on. It's a lot more simple when you've got something like this where you're just making things mostly out of planes. It gets a bit more complicated when, like the fireplace that I had earlier, it took me a little while to just try and get all the textures, sizes to be correct and things. But yeah, that's pretty much how I made that object, and that's mostly how I make most of the objects you see there. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of an insight into what I've been working on recently, and hopefully you guys found that all interesting. So cheers for watching, and I'll catch you next time.